Okay, we're starting Siman base in Maamar Shevuos, and we're holding by a kasha that the Rabbi asks that Rav Yehuda in Ksubas Daf Kuf Yud holds that you're not allowed to go, even a single Jew is not allowed to go to Eretz Yisrael. So the problem is that right there on that Daf Kuf Yud base, there's a Mishnah that says Hakol Malim, that a husband and wife could force one another to move to Eretz Yisrael, and by force we mean with the ksuba, using the ksuba as a weapon, as the withholding of the ksuba or the paying of the ksuba. Whoever is the one who holds back is the one who loses that money. So basically, the Mishnah is saying that it's a mitzvah to go to Eretz Yisrael. It's a good thing, at least. So how could Rabbi Yehuda say that it's aser? So Rabbi is going to start out saying basically his teretz is going to be that the Mishnah was bisman habayis, and bisman is there. The Mishnah doesn't apply anymore, according to Rabbi Yehuda. And according to Rabbi Yehuda, there's no mitzvah bisman is there to go there. It's Yisrael Adrabah, it's an aveira. Rabbi Yehuda. Of course, I'm being clear that this is only Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Zeir holds that a single Jew is allowed to go there to Yisrael, and it's only the entire Jewish people or a large part of the Jewish people that's forbidden to go there to Yisrael. Okay, so basically that's going to be the Rebbe's teretz, and he's going to prove his teretz, not really prove, but he's going to bring precedent for the teretz from the fact that there is a man d'Amar that is mechalik between bisman habayis and bisman hazeh, and that man d'Amar is going to be the Yerushalmi, as explained by the Meir Rottenberg. So let's see inside. My humble opinion, me'ikar loy kasha midi. The whole kasha is not a kasha. How Rabbi Yehuda could fit with the Mishnah. Shahare Shitas Reb Meir, the opinion of Reb Meir Rottenberg, one of the Rishonim, Hamuva B'Rosh, which is quoted by the Rosh. The Rosh was a Talmud of Reb Meir Rottenberg. Soif Ksubas. The Mechalik Yerushalmi. That this that the Yerushalmi distinguishes the Ach Ho'ish Koife Oisa. That only the husband could force the wife. The Eino Isha Koife Oisoi. And the wife can't force the husband, which l'chayra is contradicts the Mishnah. So Zeh Mayri Bisman Zeh, that's talking nowadays. Umas Nisan Brisa She'ein Mechalkim, that the Mishnah in Ksubas and the Brisa in Ksubas that are not Mechalik, Uspir Lahu Da'afu Isha Koifa, they hold even the wife could force. Zeh Mayri Bisman Abayis. And take a look in Maamar Kohen's page 6. You have here the Yerushalmi, it's the last blot in Yerushalmi Ksubas, and right after the Mishnah of Hakol Maling, the Mishnah is the same Mishnah, but the Gemara is a different Gemara. It says like this: Who writes the Lalois to Eretz Yisrael? For he ain't a writer. If he wants to go to Eretz Yisrael and she doesn't, then Koifin Oisal, we force her Lalois to go. But he writes it, who ain't a writer? Let's say she wants to go and he doesn't want to go, ain't Koifin Oisal Lalois. We don't force him to go. So, what's going on here? How does this Yerushalmi fit with the Mishnah? So, now turn to page, I believe it's page 7. One second. Oh, it's page 4, I'm sorry. Turn to page 4. You have the Rosh in the end of Ksubas. The Rosh brings down this Yerushalmi, and he says in the second highlighting on the page, actually the only highlighting, V'ahi, the Yerushalmi, the Polig Gemara Didan, the Yerushalmi which disagrees with our Gemara, the Kamar Ein Koifin Ho'ish Lalois, that you can't force the husband to go up Acher Isha after the wife, L'Eretz Yisrael V'Yerushalayim, Pirish Rabbeinu Meir. His Rabbi Meir Rottenberg explains the Ayre Bisman Hazeh, U'Mishnaseinu Nishnes Bisman Habayis. That the Yerushalmi is talking nowadays, and the Mishnah was taught from the time of the Beis HaMikdash. Although the Mishnah was written by Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, which is after the Churban Beis HaMikdash, but Mishnayos are very old. Rabbi Yehuda Nasi was just arranging the Mishnayos, but the real Mishnayos were much older than his time, so this Mishnah dates back to the Beis HaMikdash times. Okay, that's the Marami Rottenberg Shita. Ve'abei Shmuel be'evan ho'ezer soif Siman ayin hey. The Beis Shmuel is in Evan Elezer, which is on the Maamar Kohen's page 7. It's highlighted here. Ayin b'masha kasev b'gemara u'v'rosh. I think b'zman hazeh ein koifin oisoi ela oisa. We don't force him; we only force her. Okay, so the Beis Shmuel brings down on Shulchan Aruch. He brings down this halacha of the Maram in Rottenburg that we only force the wife. So, what's the Rebbe's point? Why is he bringing this down? Because he wants to show that things changed. Now, Rabbi Yehuda is saying things changed even more. He's saying that you're not even allowed to go there to Eretz still. But at least you see from this that things changed a little bit, that the din of the Mishnah doesn't apply today. Not completely. Okay, we're going to have to understand why, of course. Why should it be that that this Mishnah doesn't apply today? And why should it be, if it doesn't apply, why should it only apply to the husband, not to the wife? Now, let's see it inside. Maybe shita zul of psak halacha. He brings down as a psak halacha this shita that this shita that only the husband could force, not the wife. Ella Chasam Sofer b'yoredei Siman Reish Lamed Daled Pali Galzeh. Chasam Sofer disagrees with the Beis Shmuel. The Iker Kush Yastoi b'Damrin b'Gittin Daf Mem Hey. And he has a kasha on this from Gittin Daf Mem Hey. V'chein Paska Poiskim the Eved Kanani Shebarach B'Zman Hazel Eretz Yisrael Koistiv B'Lei Rabbi Shtar Al Damov V'Oiso Oiso Ben Choyin. That an Eved Kanani, a slave who runs away to Eretz Yisrael, the master has to free him. So, the Gemara there brings a proof from this Mishnah, Hakol Malin, that the Eved could basically force his master to either go to Eretz Yisrael with him and live there, or if the master doesn't want, he has to free him and let him live in Eretz Yisrael, because a slave has the right to live in Eretz Yisrael if he so wishes. So, when we call the Saskir Eved al Adoinov, we also learn it from the pasuk Parshas Kisei say that don't return a slave to his master, which Chazal explain it means don't return a slave back to Chutz La'aretz, to his master, if he ran away to Eretz Yisrael. So Zok the Chasam Sofer Minole. How do we know? How does the Gemara get to know that this din will apply even nowadays? Maybe they only applied when the Beis Hamikdash was standing. But Bizman Hazeh, now that we have the din of the Maram Rottenburg and the Yerushalmi, that an Isha can't force her husband to go there to Israel, so a slave is even worse than an Isha. He even has less say in the matter. So if even a wife, Shahura Koicha Bizman Hazeh, Bizman Abayis, even a wife has less power nowadays, Kal V'chomer, than an Eved, who has even less power than a wife, should not be able to force his master nowadays. It must be that our Gemara doesn't hold like the Yerushalmi. Even the Maram Rottenburg he only said it to explain the Yerushalmi, but he agrees that our Gemara doesn't agree with that. You're in Sham, that's Chasam Sofer. Okay, so what the Rabbi is going to say on this Chasam Sofer is basically that we could defend the Beis Shmuel, and we could say that an Eved is different, because an Eved is a pasuk in the Torah, and it's not dafka because Eretz Yisrael is a mitzvah to go to Eretz Yisrael. It's a pasuk in the Torah. We don't go into the reasons for psukim. If the pasuk says it, it's true even bizman hazeh, and therefore it's not a raya to Isha. So he says, "V'lafi ani istaiti b'dasa Beis Shmuel tekivan dahach dina de Eved shebarach l'Eretz Yisrael nilman mikra." That he says, I want to defend the Beis Shmuel by saying that the thing of an Eved, the din of an Eved that runs away to Eretz Yisrael, is learnt out from a pasuk. The loy saskir Eved al adoinav. V'harambam mushar moenia mitzvahs manu zel lav bein atayig mitzvahs. It's a permanent lav. It's a negative commandment not to return an Eved from Eretz Yisrael. Uvalav amavur b'kra. A beferish pasuk in the Torah loy darshin in time of the kra. We don't go into the reasons for the pasuk. So we don't make any distinctions whether the Beis Hamikdash is here or not, whether there's a mitzvah Eretz Yisrael or not. It's not similar to the forcing of the husband and the wife, which is not mentioned anywhere in the Torah, and it's just a din d'Rabbanan because of Yishuv Eretz Yisrael. See, Ella Shechachameni Zal Amru Kain B'Shvil Shemitzvah Lo D'Eretz Yisrael. They just said this din of forcing the husband and wife because of the mitzvah to live in Eretz Yisrael. V'yesh b'zeh kama pluktos v'chilukim. There are a lot of machlokes about this din of forcing. Yispoim Yirtz Hashem Lahalon b'Maamar Hasheni. I'll explain them later on in Maamar Hasheni, Maamar Yishuv Eretz Yisrael. A lot of chilukim in the din of Yishuv Eretz Yisrael. So therefore the Eved and the Isha are not similar to each other, and you can't bring a raya from one to the other. Okay. Now he's going to go now to say another reason why the Eved is not similar to the Isha, and that is he's going to bring down that the Ran says that the whole din of forcing one another is only a din in Ksuba. But as long as they're still married, they can't force each other. So let's say the husband is sitting in America, his wife wants to go there to Israel. So according to the Mishnah, we don't force him to give a get. The Mishnah just says that if you gave a get already, he has to give her ksuba. But we never forced the husband to give a get. So giving a get to a wife is analogous to giving a shtar shichra to an eved, freeing the eved. So if you don't if you don't force the husband to free his wife, to divorce his wife, then you don't force the eved the master to free the eved. So therefore, there's no reason to compare the two. So let's see inside what he says. The Ran in his Tshuva says, "The Masha Omer b'Gemara Hakol Ma'alin v'Koifin Zelazeh." This is the Gemara says that the husband and wife could force each other. Eino ela im niskarish. It's only talking after they got divorced. V'yesh nafkamina b'kfil ini naksuba. That the nafkamina is only whether he has to pay ksuba. Avol kol zman shaloi nisgarshu. As long as they're not divorced yet, ein koifin nisgarish. We don't force the refusing party to give a get. U'mishubadim zelazeh, and they have obligations one to the other. Yuyin sham. So according to this Ran, there's no comparison to an Eved, because an Eved, it's all about freeing the Eved. It's not about Ksuba. There's no Ksuba. Okay, so that's according to the Ran. Even according to the other poskim who hold that there's a kfiyah even on making the husband divorce his wife if she wants to go. Ba'ayin Beis Shmuel Siman Ayin Hey Sivkot and Beis Shehebi Divrei Poskim. The Beis Shmuel brings down these poskim. The V'chom Lakim Shekoifin Imloy Teilech Achro of Dina K'moy Redes. That every place where we're koifel, like Eretz Yisrael, Chutz La'aretz, if she doesn't want to follow him to that place, then she's a rebellious wife. A wife that doesn't want to fulfill her marital obligations, and she gets a get without any ksuba. So the whole thing of forcing a wife to go to Eretz Yisrael or not is only a tekanas chachamim like moredes, like the din of a rebellious wife. So basically, the Beis Shmuel is like the Ran. He's saying that the din is only after the divorce. There is no ksuba, like moredes, like a rebellious wife. But the etzem, as long as they're married, he's not forced to give a get. It's not like an Eved who ran away there to Israel. She yod to the chayers min ha-Torah. That even there, the Torah said that he goes out free. We call the lois taskir from the pasuk lois taskir. Mashakasav Ari, the Ri in Tosfos says shehu meshuchrar ela shechaser lo yaget shuchrar. That an Eved who ran to Eretz Yisrael is really free already, even without the document. Just he needs the document for Isurim. That an Eved has Isurim to marry a Jewish woman, so in order to get that heter, he has to have the get shikra. But the etzem, he's free; he can do whatever he wants. He doesn't have to work anymore for his master. The Rambam holds that even if the master refuses to give the shtar shikra, mafkin bezdin shibuda me'alav. The bezdin takes away his ownership of the Eved. Kapash Destibri, I still give a gittin daf mem hey. That's the pashup shot and gittin that the Eved is free automatically. For ayin bebeis Yosef hilchus avadim soif simin reish samach zayin shepasuk kein la'alacha. The Beis Yosef paskins like this Rambam that he's automatically free. So b'chlal has nothing to do with a wife who's not automatically divorced. For sure not. We don't even force the husband to divorce her. It's just that there's a question of the ksuba. Okay, Umasha Kosta B'Gemara Ein HaKol Moitzin La'asuya Eved Shebarach L'Eretz Yisrael. So now the Rebbe has a problem. If you explained that Eved has nothing to do with Isha, and Eved really is a din deraisa, so then why is the Mishnah, the Gemara in Ksubas Daf Kuf Yud, and again we look at it on page 2 of the Maamar Koimis, the Gemara says, what's HaKol coming to include? Coming to include an Eved. So if an Eved has nothing to do with an Isha, what's it saying? So he says, B'vadai de'ena kavana shalondim din Eved shebarach le'aretz midine kfiyas ho'ish ve'ho'isha. Not pshat that we learn out Eved from Isha. That Isha is like the main din and Eved is learned out from it. Fakeret shahari mevur sheyesh al zeh lav miyuchad v'chomer yoiser. That Eved is more chomer than Isha because Eved has a lav. There's a negative commandment. The Torah says don't, keep an Eved that ran to Eretz Yisrael. El shederech hatana lahashmienu agav gor gam shar dinim shehem ke'ein zeh. That the lasuye, the including, means that the Tana of a Mishnah often includes things that are similar to what he said, but not that the things that he's including are just agav, or just tafel. They're just like something that's less important. They could be more important. Av she'ein time shava, even though the reason might not be the same. Kashakein hu bekama duchti b'shas. Many places in Shas that's the way it is. Ubefrat. Shalashita zu kol hashak levitarya shebeshas bavli he lefarish hamishna v'abrayis the Meir bizman abayis. Befrat, according to this shita, the whole sugya and the bavli is to explain the Mishnah and the Brayis, which is talking in the old days, in the time of the Beis Hamikdash. V'oz bizman abayis lo yhura koich hoisha. So he's saying the kasha is not so schwer at all because since our Gemara, the Bavli, explains the Mishnah and doesn't say that it only applies to the husband, not to the wife, right? So why is that? Because the Bavli is going about in the old times, the Beis Hamikdash times. So it comes out that our Gemara is not even talking about the Bizman Hazeh. So of course, in that case, the Eved and the Isha are on equal footing. So it makes more sense that the Gemara learns out, not learns out, but speaks out that La Suye comes to include an Eved. Nowadays, if the din changes, that now there's no mitzvah Yishuv Eretz Yisrael as much as it was then, and the Isha gets less power, this time doesn't apply to an Eved. So it's not necessarily so that Eved and Isha are the same. Now, I just wanted to go back and explain something that we talked about in the previous Siman, which was the Haflah. I don't know if I completely explained it. The Haflah says that Rabbi Yehuda's din is only from Babel, not from other lands. So the mistake that the Sionim made about this is that they thought that if Rabbi Yehuda is only talking from Babel, then maybe Rabbi Zera, maybe the whole sugya of the Shalosh Shevuos is only talking from Babel. Now, obviously, that's not what's going on here. What's going on is that the Haflah is explaining Rabbi Yehuda's din that is not a din in Shalosh Shevuos really. It's not really an Isser that Hashem made on Klal Yisrael. It's a din that you have to live in a place where there are yeshivas and there's Torah. So Babel is the place. So you have to live in Babel. So, and he's connecting the two Rabbi Yehudas, the one from Daf Kuf Yud Aleph and the one from Daf Kuf Yud. So according to this, Rabbi Yehuda is not really saying anything to do with the Shalosh Shevuos. He's just saying a din in Babel. So you can't compare that to Rabbi Zera, who's talking about an Isser on the whole Klal Yisrael to move from Eretz Yisrael to move from Babel, to move from any place in the world to Eretz Yisrael. Okay, so that concludes Siman Beis. Any questions before we stop?
That's good.
Okay, thank you.